My name is Kayla, and I'm 36 years old. Life hasn't been kind lately. These past few months have tested me in ways I never imagined, forcing me to relearn how to stand on my own 2 feet. A lot of the pain I've endured traces back to my husband, Tom. But in the midst of it all, a compassionate soul stepped in and spared me from even greater heartache. Before I dive into the heart of what happened, let me introduce you to the people in my life. First, there's my sister, Maya. She's 6 years younger than I am and undeniably beautiful. We weren't close growing up. Maya was the outgoing, popular one, while I was more reserved, buried in books and studies. She teased me constantly, and there was always this undercurrent of envy in her attitude. My mother tried to patch things up between us, but it never really worked. Once I left for college, our communication practically vanished. It wasn't until I graduated and she entered her teenage years that we began to reconnect. Things got a bit better between us, though we never reached the level of closeness sisters often share. I accepted it for what it was and made peace with the distance. Then there's Tom, my ex-husband. We met at work, and right from the start, there was a spark. After 3 years of dating, we decided to get married. Together, we worked hard and eventually bought our first home. Since I earned more at the time, both the mortgage and the property title were in my name. 2 years into the marriage, Tom approached me with something on his mind. "Kayla, can we talk about something? I need you to be open with me." "Of course," I said. "What's going on?" "Well, we've been married a while now, and I think it's time we consider starting a family." I sighed. "Tom, you know how I feel about that." "I do, but we're financially secure. And come on, imagine little versions of us running around the house. Wouldn't that be amazing?" "I get it, but raising kids is a huge responsibility. It's not something you take lightly. We're the most dependable people we know. You've got this, and I'll be right there with you. Just think about it, okay?" Despite my hesitation, I eventually agreed. He wore me down with his persistent enthusiasm. Not long after, we had a son. 3 years later, our daughter arrived. In the beginning, Tom was supportive. But that quickly faded. Out of nowhere, the weight of the household, of meals, cleaning, child-rearing, fell squarely on my shoulders. After our first child, he pushed me to quit my job, citing a promotion he'd just received and the fact that he now earned more. I resisted at first, but eventually gave in. Arguing seemed pointless, and maybe I just wanted to believe it would all be okay. To keep myself from spiraling into boredom and frustration, I picked up a new hobby, hosting dinners. I would regularly invite my mother and Maya, who lived nearby, and Tom's mother, Megan, whenever she came to visit. Over time, I settled into this rhythm. I found moments of joy in being around my family. I began to feel at home in this new chapter of my life. Tom and I seemed to be doing fine, or so I thought. After giving birth to our daughter, I had a serious medical scare. I almost died. That trauma left scars, and while it strained our marriage, I believed we were getting through it together. I was wrong. One afternoon, while cleaning our bedroom, I came across something that stopped me cold, a pair of underwear that definitely didn't belong to me. I just stared, heart racing. My mind immediately went into denial. Maybe I was overthinking. But deep down, I knew the truth: my husband had been unfaithful. The realization crushed me. I'd been healing, physically, emotionally, and had even started therapy. I was making progress, slowly but surely. But now, everything came crashing down. After the initial shock faded, fury took its place. I needed answers. Who was he cheating with? Why? I took a photo of the underwear and sent it to Tom with a simple question: "Whose are these?" Then I grabbed his laptop. I logged into his social media, combed through messages, hoping to find a clue. At first, everything looked clean. No suspicious women. No unknown contacts. But something didn't sit right. So I kept digging. I checked every chat, every name, even the ones I knew. That's when something strange stood out. My sister's name popped up in every corner. At first, I brushed it off. Why would Maya and Tom talking be unusual? But when I opened their messages, my stomach turned. There they were. Photos. Videos. Intimate. Shameless. Their chats were full of affection and plans for a future, without me. Tom and Maya were in love. And they'd been carrying on behind my back. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. Still shaking, I called Tom. No answer. I dialed Maya next. Hey, what's up? She answered casually. Don't hey me. What's wrong with you? I snapped. What are you talking about? I found a pair of your underwear in my bedroom. Are you sleeping with Tom? Yeah, we have been. For a while. I could hardly breathe. Why, Maya? You thought I was boring, so you thought you could just help yourself to my husband? I was just helping, Kayla. Keeping Tom entertained so you could focus on the kids. That's your excuse? That has to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It just happened, okay? I didn't plan it. He kept flirting and he's a really good guy, Kayla. He was my husband. And you're my sister. How could you do this to me? I'm just doing what's best for him. If I'm better for him than you are, then that's just how it is. You're sick. I ended the call and collapsed in bed, sobbing. This wasn't the life I imagined. This wasn't the man I married or the sister I tolerated. Everything felt unreal. Eventually, my daughter's cries snapped me back to reality. I wiped my tears, picked her up, and carried on with the day like nothing had happened. My kids didn't need to see my pain. I picked up my son from school, made dinner, and when they asked where their dad was, I lied, he's working late. By night, my sadness turned into panic. It was nearly 11 p.m. and Tom still hadn't come home. I called him again and again. Nothing. I even tried calling Maya, but she ignored me too. Exhausted, I crawled into bed, hoping that when I woke up, it would all be a horrible dream. But the next morning proved otherwise. The room felt eerily still. I got up and looked around, Tom's clothes, his shoes, his toiletries, all gone. Drawers were empty. His things had vanished. He'd left me during the night. Slipped away in silence. Not a note. Not a word. I was in complete disbelief. Tom had walked out without a word, no conversation, no confrontation, no attempt to explain. Just gone. My thoughts were spinning, but one thing was clear, my kids needed me. Everything else could wait. That morning, I pulled myself together, got the kids dressed, dropped my eldest off at school, and brought my youngest to my mother's house. She noticed something was off immediately. I was distant, hollow. The truth was, I couldn't stop thinking about how I'd manage raising 2 children on my own. Every time I came back to the present, I was reminded that I still hadn't told my mom what had happened, not just about Tom, but about Maya. Eventually, she couldn't hold back any longer. All right, that's enough. I've been patient, but you need to tell me what's going on. I hesitated. I don't even know how to start. Start from the beginning, honey. Just tell me. I found out Tom's been cheating. What? She gasped. How do you know? There were women's underwear in our bedroom. Not mine. I confronted him about it, but he never responded. Then this morning, I woke up and he was gone. All his things, just gone. She stared at me, stunned. You mean he left during the night? You didn't try to stop him? I didn't even realize he came back. I fell asleep around midnight. By morning, he had disappeared. Oh, sweetheart, she whispered, reaching for me. I'm so sorry. It gets worse, I said quietly. Her face dropped. What do you mean worse? I found out who he was seeing. You won't believe it. She leaned in, her voice cautious. Who? I swallowed hard. Maya. What? She shot up. Are you serious? Yes. I checked his messages. There were photos, videos, messages, everything. I called her, and she didn't even try to deny it. She said they're in love. She told me she thought she was better for him and planned to stay with him. My mother's hands trembled. What has she done? I don't know how I'm supposed to survive this, I said, tears finally spilling. I have 2 kids to take care of. I need a job. I need something. My mom stepped in close, holding me tightly. Right now, I want you to rest. Let me process this. I'm here for you. Thank you, I whispered. Oddly, telling her didn't feel as impossible as I thought it would. Maybe I had gone numb from everything. I ended up falling asleep while she took care of my youngest. Later, I woke to the sound of my baby crying and my mother's voice, raised, angry, speaking into the phone. I rushed into the room and found her mid-call, clearly furious. When she hung up, she looked surprised to see me. Sorry about the noise, she said, brushing it off. She didn't tell me who she was yelling at, but I knew. She'd been giving Maya a piece of her mind. Over the next few days, Mom stayed at our house. It was easier for one person to stay than for the kids and me to uproot ourselves. Maya kept trying to reach out to her, but Mom blocked her on everything. She told me I should do the same, and I did. It was comforting to finally feel seen and supported. Mutual friends soon got wind of what had happened. When they found out Tom and Maya had gotten married, they reached out to me, shocked and concerned. Telling the story felt humiliating, but their support helped me breathe. They all cut ties with the 2 of them, refusing to have anything to do with them. That's when I found out they had gotten married the day after Tom left me. It was a punch to the gut, but also a confirmation of what I already knew: they never cared. When I told my mom, she was furious, truly furious. My mom, who was usually level-headed and calm, completely broke her composure. Her disappointment in Maya ran deep. And even though she wasn't obligated to, she stepped up in every way she could. She helped me financially, stayed with the kids when I went to interviews, and encouraged me to rebuild what Tom had tried to tear apart. Every day was still a battle. I held back tears when my kids asked about their dad, making up excuses I could barely say aloud. But we survived. Slowly. Then, 1 week after Tom vanished, I received a letter from him in the mail. I didn't want to read it. I assumed it was filled with excuses or some half-hearted apology. It had been too long. A week was too long to be silent, and I was done waiting on someone who had abandoned his family. So, I burned it. But later, curiosity crept in. What if it had said something important? What if it explained something I needed to know? Then I reminded myself, there was nothing he could say that would undo what he did. That letter meant nothing. The next day, Mom and I took the kids to a local fair. We ate candy, laughed on rides, and enjoyed the music and lights. For the first time in what felt like forever, I was happy. That night, back home with a bottle of wine, I told her about the letter. I got something in the mail yesterday. Oh yeah? What was it? A letter. From Tom. What did it say? I didn't read it. What do you mean? You didn't open it? No. I burned it. You burned it? Yeah. I didn't want to give him another second of my energy. What if it was something important, like legal papers? It didn't look official. It was just a regular envelope. If it was divorce paperwork, it would have looked different. Well, if you're sure. What do you think was in it? Maybe he wanted his stuff back. Maybe he wanted to make himself the victim. I really don't care. She looked at me gently. And how are you feeling now? Today was a good day. But when the kids ask where their dad is, I don't know what to say. I just keep pushing forward. You're doing so well, Kayla. And just so you know, I'm cutting Maya off completely. Everything I have will go to you and your children. I blinked. Mom, are you sure? Maya's still your daughter. She made her choice. I raised you both better than this. Maya knew what she was doing, and she didn't care. I'm done. It meant everything. I knew that must have been a heartbreaking decision for her. I couldn't imagine cutting off one of my own children. But she stood by me. That loyalty gave me strength. 3 days later, there was an unexpected knock at the door. No one ever visited unless it was my mother. I opened it just a crack and saw 2 men in dark suits. We're attorneys, one said politely. We have something for you. They handed me an envelope and a check. I glanced at the amount and froze. $750,000. My jaw dropped. This must be a mistake. It's not, one of them assured me. Please read the letter. The note began with, "Thank you for saving me." It was from Megan, Tom's mother. She explained that she had stopped by a few days earlier to visit us, but no one answered the door. She called Tom, who acted confused and claimed he couldn't get in. Megan sensed something wasn't right and pushed him until he admitted the truth. She was horrified. Heartbroken by what I'd been put through, Megan made a decision. She changed her will and left everything to me and her grandchildren. She thanked me for being strong, for staying kind, and for never trying to manipulate her the way her son had. That check was a part of the inheritance. She wanted it delivered immediately after her death. She had passed away just the day before. Tears ran down my face. Megan had always stood by what was right. She wasn't afraid of her son's anger or excuses. And she trusted me, even in her final days. A few days after that, Tom called. I answered. What did you do? He snapped. I could ask you the same. You'll need to be clearer. Why weren't you home the day your mother visited? I sent you a letter. I asked you to pretend everything was fine while she came by. Oh, that's what that letter was? You didn't read it? No, I burned it. You don't get to manipulate me anymore. She was supposed to help with my inheritance. You stole it. You're selfish. I laughed bitterly. You abandoned your family. You only care now because of money. Your mother made her choice, just like you made yours. Don't ever contact me again. I hung up. Everything happened fast after that. I filed for divorce and was awarded full custody of our children. Tom tried to claim part of the inheritance, but Megan had made her wishes clear. Everything belonged to me and the kids. He and Maya tried reaching out, asking for money. I ignored them. They had chosen each other. They could deal with the consequences together. Life got easier. I saved for the kids' future and invested the rest. My mother retired comfortably. I found work and built something stable for my children. They've started adjusting to life without their father, and one day, when the time is right, I'll tell them the truth. The pain hasn't vanished. But I know now, the future is ours to rebuild.